Hey, YouTube. I don't actually know how well this is going to work. I'm using my cell phone at the moment. Um, what are we doing? I've been told by my wife that I need to start recording videos again on YouTube. Firstly, though, I probably should apologize. Um, uh, it's been over a year since I've published a video on YouTube. And this is not the video. I'm not going to go into the whys or where I've been or what's happened. There's been a lot of things that have happened in this year. We've picked up another lathe, a horizontal mill. As far as things on like the power hammer, which I can't even that thing, the power hammer, I haven't touched it. I've got all the materials now. I've got all the parts. All right, we're going to try this again. I've got a lot of information to get through, and it was starting to get. I don't have a script. This is unscripted. Like I was saying, I got interrupted there. I had a phone call I had to take, but like I was saying, there's been a lot of things have taken place in the past year. There have been a little bit of small developments on the Ranchero. We picked up, as far as the power hammer, nothing's happened to it. I ended up picking up a lathe. We got a horizontal mill. There's even a 74 CJ5 that has shown up, had a lot of work done to it, and the wife still hasn't driven her Jeep. So anyway, but none of that is why I'm making the video today. Wife wanted me to make this video because she thought, well, like I said, the wife wants me to start making videos again. But some of this was, she kind of wanted me to document my experience because I got out of the ER and I had surgery a week ago. And so we want to tell that story. So trying to find a comfortable place. I wish I had my my camera other than this phone. This is really inconvenient, and you're probably getting dizzy. So anyway, 15 years ago next December, I broke my back. I won't go into the details. I had my frame shop. I fell off of a 9-foot platform. I got a compression fracture in L2. Laundry list of other back injuries, that kind of stuff. But, it was, that at the same time, we think this is when I got, I tore my abdominal wall, and I have had a hernia. And I'd been calling it an umbilical hernia because of its proximity to my navel. But I had one doctor, and this is why I have such little respect for most medical doctors, is he kept insisting it wasn't umbilical. It was too far away from it. It couldn't be an umbilical hernia. It had to be a dorsal hernia. I'm pedantic. That just turned me off, and I'm not even going to go into the details. If you want to know what dorsal is, go look it up. But it is not the best description for a hernia in my tummy. So anyway, I've had this hernia for about 14 years. And anyway, a week ago Sunday, I was moving across the bed and I felt a tear. There was a pop and a lot of pain right now. Instant. Bam, pain. Yeah. So that night I didn't sleep real well. I spent a lot of it trying to decide whether or not I needed to go to the ER or if I needed to just go ahead and call my primary care provider. And finally I decided what would happen is if I called my regular doctor, that office, if I called them, their reaction would be, well, if it's an emergency, go to the ER. Like I'm qualified to determine whether it's an emergency or not. I don't know. I mean, I need you to tell me if it's an emergency. All I know is it hurts a lot. So I just went ahead and went to the ER. I went to our county hospital, which is literally less than a mile from the house here. It was 8 a.m. It was 8 a.m. Monday morning. I got the wife to work. I got the boys doing their schooling. So I just figured, you know what? I'll drive myself over here. And so 8 o'clock, I got there, signed in. They took my poor person insurance. They said, oh yeah, you're poverty. We know what to do with you. And I sat in the ER waiting room for a couple hours, watching History Channel, I think it was. Yeah, History Channel, because they were playing that documentary, you know, where the guy that's the wild hair and he's like, it's aliens. That was literally the documentary, if you can call it that. That's what they were playing. Something to do with monuments built in the, I don't know, Amazon or something like that. Couldn't possibly be built by men, had to be built by aliens. So anyway, 2 hours after, so they called us back, a whole group of us, to the back, and the ER is split into what I call the boo-boos and ouchies and the trauma. I was taken over to the boo-boos and ouchies because I'm not bleeding, my heart is beating, I'm not missing a limb, I'm stable. I belong in the boo-boos and ouchies. They stuck several of us in this one exam room, and I'll post a picture. There were 4 hard chairs. There was a recliner at one point that looked like if I got in it, I wouldn't be able to get out of it. And I tried, so it was very uncomfortable, so I didn't get in it. So yeah, that was actually my home for the next, let's see, that would have been 21 hours. That was the room I stayed in. They took they ordered a CT scan. So I think it was a nurse practitioner. She came in, asked me questions. She says, how does this feel? What did you do? Why are you here? Are you sure you're not faking it? These are things. Anyway, yeah, so she, I told her the story. She says, all right, well, let's see what has to happen. She comes back. We've ordered a CT scan. I sat there for a couple of hours. I had people, like I said, it was kind of it was an exam room, but it was like a group thing. And we had all sorts of people coming and going. And I'd always had an exam room to myself, for me. And that didn't happen. Met a lot of strange people that night. So anyway, got the CT, the imaging was ordered, so they walked me back to the back room, which I could walk, and it was actually more comfortable to stand and move around than it was to sit for very long. And I got plenty of both. I sat and I stood and I wandered around. I'd sat, stood, and that kind of stuff. So we went in, and they ran me through the donut and sent me on my way. And when they came back, their demeanor was different, because at that point I was no longer lying to them. I wasn't faking it. I actually had an injury. So they came in. Another nurse came in, had no sense of humor. She tapped my arm, put I guess it's a PICC line, I'm not sure. But anyway, she tapped me so that they could draw blood and that kind of stuff. And actually, they did that before the CT scan. Yeah, so they tapped me before the CT scan. But they came in later after the CT scan and put me on an IV drip. I think they were pretty well sure I was going to be there a while. Anyway, eventually a doctor came in and took me to another room, talked talked to me and said, look, this is what's going on. I had a hernia and it had opened up, but I didn't have a loop of bowel. It wasn't, they'll call it incarcerated or strangulated or whatever, that kind of stuff. You've probably all heard of a strangulated hernia. I didn't have a bowel loop in the hernia. I had in the hernia sac. It was just fat tissue and that kind of stuff. And they said, but she made it clear that it needed to be fixed. I wasn't dying at the moment, but it needed to be fixed. So I was all right, well, let's get it fixed. I kind of was already invested. I said, let's just wait and see if we can get a room and get it taken care of. So I went back to my little room with my little IV pole and sat there and played a lot of Sudoku, whatever that is, with the numbers on the grid on my phone. I had that keep me occupied. I visited with the guy with the bad arm. He came in. I had a lot of patients. I had a lot of patients come and go. There was a guy with a bad arm. There was a guy that he got in a fight. Apparently he'd been in a fight, and he said, and I quote, "They kicked my ass." And he was having problems, and like I said, we were just right in there, and they would interview the doctors that come in and do their deal, and I found out that he was having problems with urinating on himself. I didn't want to know that. I didn't want to know that, but I learned it. We had a guy that I called him Vomit Boy. He came in. Vomit Boy. So I was there. I knew I was going to be there because they were going to get me. The doctor says, when I talked to the doctor, I said, let's go ahead and do this. They said, okay. She says to me, she says, fine. She says, we'll get you a room. We'll get you a room. You'll get some food. You'll get some sleep. We'll get this taken care of as soon as we can, probably sometime tomorrow afternoon. Anyway, I settled in for a long night. Yeah, they, at some point, about 2 o'clock, after dozing off on the uncomfortable hard blue chairs, kind of propped up against the wall, different positions, trying to hold my guts in and get comfortable enough to where I could sleep. About 2 o'clock, one of the nurses that was on staff the day before comes in, and she says, "You're still here?" And I said, "Yes, I am." She says, "You need to be more comfortable." I said, "I'd love that." She says, "Let me find you a recliner." And I was like, I didn't even know that was an option. So she wheeled in a recliner, and I got a blanket, and I got cozy, and I started to really sleep good, as well as you can anyway, in an ER on a hard recliner in the exam room with a bunch of strangers. Woke up 2 or 3 times to find different people in my little room. One of them was Vomit Boy. Vomit Boy was going around, and in Spanish, he kept saying, "My God, oh my God." And I would watch him. He would sit in that chair, then he'd sit over here, and then he'd move. And at one point, he tried to lay down on the floor next to me, and he'd make these retching noises, and all I could do is just pray that he didn't blow chunks on me, because I didn't want whatever it was he had. Anyway, afterwards there was also a lady in there. She was about 300 pounds. She came in, and she had a toothache. It must have been the tooth that I couldn't see, because I saw one tooth. I didn't see any other teeth. So there was a tooth somewhere else in her head that wasn't the one on the front. That's all I know. But she had a toothache. She was there for her toothache. And then they called her back at one point, and she came back. "Well, they can't do anything for me." And then she said she'd pray for me. I appreciate it. Then she left. And then about 10, 15 minutes later, they were looking for her. County hospital, classy place. I saw one hobo that looked like he'd been hit by a car. A couple of gunshot wounds. One guy got stabbed, got wheeled on a gurney past my room. Two announcements on the PA that there was a stroke warning, some sort of an alert. They call everybody to some bed because somebody might be having a stroke, and which I actually appreciate that commentary because that sentiment, because if I was having a stroke, I'd want an army of people at my bedside too, trying to fix it. As a trauma ward, the county hospital is really well. It is really good for keeping you alive. That's the place you want to go. Comfortable, not so much. Because about 5 o'clock, they finally found me a bed in the trauma section of the ER. So it is basically, we walked over through a different set of doors. Nice nurse. I'm cranky at this point, and I kept apologizing to the girl because I said, I'm sorry. I said, I don't know if I'm being mean or not or what. She's, because I'm loopy and tired and in pain, and she put me to bed, and I didn't really sleep well because it was time to get up. 5 o'clock, come on. So I laid there. I was comfortable. At least I was able to relax. Then about noon, I had a nurse come in and said, we're collecting you. Said, we got an operating room that's available. They want you up there. I was like, all right, let's go. I've had this thing for 14 years. I've been wanting it repaired for 14 years. So they called me up, took me in. They wheeled me up there, and they started getting me prepped, and I got to listen to the biggest sissy in the world. I got there, I'm in there in the OR prep, and in the space next to me, I can hear this kid, and clearly a Mexican guy. He's speaking the local dialect, and stuff. He speaks English, but he's throwing in the odd little phrase every once in a while that's decidedly the local Hispanic terminologies. Anyway, apparently he'd been shot, and they were scheduling him for emergency surgery, and then he decided that he didn't want to go. I felt bad enough that I might be there for a procedure that is actually needed to be done, but not immediately life-threatening. I was feeling like I was taking advantage of the system in some manner. This guy, they had actually rescheduled other surgeries to make room for him so that they could get him fixed. And then I'm listening to the conversation where he's saying, I don't want it done. And this is the 0 hour. This is they're wanting to take him back right now. And he would come up with every manner of excuse you could imagine. It was things like, I don't trust you. What if I don't wake up? My favorite was, you'll take my things. And I'm thinking, this is some dude from, I know what town he's from, and he was talking about what town he was from and that kind of stuff. And it's like, dude, you don't have anything they want. And I was really close to just, shouting over there just to quit being a big old sissy. I don't know. There's nothing I can do to motivate. I'm not a motivator. If I were a cheerleader, maybe I could have got him. But they finally came in, wheeled me away, gave me instructions to take deep breaths, and then I woke up, apparently a couple hours later, in the recovery. Because that's how general anesthesia works. I found out that I am somewhat combative coming out of general anesthesia. I'm not mean, but I am not wanting anything on me. I'm trying to get this blood pressure cuff off of me. I'm wanting to get up. My head's swimming. When you move your head and everything's not exactly in sync, and dizzy and not happy. But I could tell they'd done the work because I can feel my belly and there's no more bulge. And the first thing I asked about is if they got the guy with the bullet wound to agree to surgery. They did not. So, yeah. Anyway, that was by about 6 o'clock Tuesday, 6 p.m. I'd had my surgery. They woke me up at about 5. They woke me up from surgery about 5 o'clock. And they had me home by 6. Was in a lot of pain. They gave me pills. The pills, they make the pain go away. They make me sleepy. They make me warm. They make me tired. I took a lot of naps. This is actually, like I said, that was a week ago. This is Monday. So tomorrow, this is 6 days since the surgery. I haven't had any pain pills today. I haven't had any yesterday. It's just just mild soreness, and I actually feel better than I have in 14 years. So, that's my story. I'm sure I could probably drag this out even further if I wanted to go into details about Vomit Boy and sore hand, sore arm guy and broken back guy and the woman with the one tooth. There was a very nice little old lady. She came in, a little geriatric. She walked into my little room. She was mad. Real mad. Mad. And this little round-faced nurse boy was following after her with a brand new walker. He says, Mrs. Whatever, I don't remember her name, don't care, doesn't matter, I wouldn't say it on here if I knew, but he says, Mrs. So-and-so, here's your walker. And she says, that ain't my walker. He says, I got you a brand new walker. This is the good one. She looks at it. Anyway, she looks it over and she takes it and she throws it against the wall. So I don't want that thing. And then walked right out and left the building. She was cute. I liked her. Anyways, if you stayed all the way through this, God bless you. Upcoming videos. Yeah, I guess that the wife has declared that I'm making videos again. So yeah, we're going to be making videos again. Probably not the projects we were working on immediately. I have some projects in the works already. Let's see if I can swap this camera around. All right, so something in the works. This is a little motor we're building for a friend. This is a 80s 5.0. Got some aluminum heads. There's an intake somewhere around in this mess. I don't know where. There it is. It's under there. All the parts. It's just kind of piled here right now. But this is going to be a 347 stroker for a 1974 1974 highboy, Ford highboy, so F-250. So that's coming up. I'll keep you up to date on that. We'll bring in some other stuff. We'll update on some of the work that we've done, little short videos, kind of bring you up to speed on what's happened that I didn't record. So I'll go over the Ranchero, what happened. We got the steering hooked up, got a different transfer case in it, that kind of stuff. The Jeep, the 74 CJ5, I did a lot. There's pretty much nothing on that I didn't touch. It's got a 4-liter engine out of a 96. Engine and transmit, the whole drivetrain actually, engine, transmission, axles, all of that's out of a, we think, the best we can tell is out of a 96 Cherokee. The fuel injection was crap, so we built a computer, the whole thing, it runs, but It still needs some work to make it a little more streetable, and we'll get into that later. So anyway, that's what I got for you. I hope you enjoyed my little story, and it's a long video. Sorry, you don't have to watch it. You can skip through. And until next time, bye.